Hi everybody, we're gonna make lobster thermidor, and I've got a really good recipe. I did a previous one, but I used the thermidor sauce on the steak. This is gonna be the original lobster thermidor. The very first thing you do, get the water boiling hot. That way the lobsters will cook faster. Drop the lobsters in. I'm gonna make 6 and let them boil until they turn red, and let them cook right there. I would have these lobsters cooking. You notice when the water is boiling, it gets red right away. It cooks faster. Never put lobsters in cold water then turn it on. Make sure the water is boiling hot. They'll cook faster. Leave them in there for like 5 minutes, 4 minutes, depending on the time. And when they're ready, we'll take them out. Over and out. When you make lobster thermidor, this is step number 1. Over and out. I'll be right back. 5 minutes in boiling water. That's all you need to do. Don't ever overcook a lobster, you'll ruin it. When the water is boiling and you drop in your lobsters, frozen, 5 minutes. Okay? I'm going to move the camera over and I'm going to cut them for you. And I'll show you how I do that as soon as they're ready and laid out on the board. Over and out. The frozen lobsters in boiling water again. Just do it for 5 minutes. Don't overcook. And save your water that you boiled the lobsters in for lobster stock. Once you cut them, I go down the middle, upside down, straight down the middle. A lot of people cut them in half, straight down the middle. If you're going to do a lobster thermidor where you're going to use a shell, you just take out the meat, and then when you're done cooking it, like that, take out the meat, like that. And then when you're done with your thermidor, you pour the thermidor back in, you put the lobster back in the shell, cover it over. That's lobster thermidor. We're going to do it that way today, okay? But let me cut these shells in half. I go down the middle first, down the top, then I go back again, because the shell is usually way too thick. Half, half, half. So if you go like that, it's kind of, you need a bigger scissors like we use in the restaurants when I used to work at the Velvet Turtle. But go like this, cut it in the middle, down, and go back again to cut the rest of it. Again, if you have a big scissors, you only need to do the cut once. Down the middle. Down the middle again. You can cut the other side, the top of the shell, right in half. Down the middle. Do it again. There you go. Now, what you want to do is take out all the lobsters, fill them right out, throw the shell back in. If you have the whole lobster, including the head, you would throw. Now make sure there's no lobster poop. This one had poop on it. Take out the poop. Preferably rinse it out, because that's not good. I bought these in the store, frozen, and I don't like it when there's poop in them. They should already be cleaned. But these ones were frozen and they didn't really clean them that good like they should, but here we go. Oh, what am I doing? I'm throwing the lobster in there to rinse it off, to clean it a little bit, but only the shells. Okay. Sometimes I do it to kind of clean out the lobster, then I take them back out. Here we go. It's a lot of lobster, folks. When you cut the lobster in half, it's a lot more lobster to serve. But everybody gets one lobster in half on the plate, which shows a lot of meat. Put this back in, the shells. Remember the head too if you have it. Recook it, warm it again on low. All you're trying to do is make lobster stock. If you don't want or you don't have to use stock. Okay, now I'm going to get a paper towel. I'm going to wipe this. Your lobsters are ready. There's some more poop. I'm going to have to rinse these lobsters and get rid of the poop. Make sure there's no more lobster poop on them. I hate when that happens. There's only one left here I gotta clean. I'm gonna rinse it off real quick. Now, the lobsters are ready. This is why I clean it back in the water, because this should have been cleaned already. I put down the water a little bit, just kind of take it out. Okay, you got your lobsters right here, ready to roll. Now we're going to start making the lobster Thermidor sauce. The lobsters are ready. The lobsters are cooking. We're getting more stock. And I'll be right back in a few minutes, ready to make the Thermidor sauce. Be right back. Thermidor sauce. You got your lobsters that are ready. Ta-da. We have over on the far side, we got it cooking, the shells. So we're gonna make a little bit of more sauce to strain it. And it's cooking over here, the shells. And I'm not even gonna strain it. I was gonna get a couple of scoops because I don't want to put a lot inside the pan. And add butter. Just to your liking. Just add butter first so we can get everything sauteed and going. Put the butter in right away. Throw in half a cup onion. I got 3 cameras rolling, so I'm going to try to get every angle. Diced onion, one whole big fat diced shallot. Lobster stock, I won't put in that much, but it's almost ready. Get that rolling. I'm not using a big pan, I'm using a thicker electric pan because I'm going to make a lot of sauce. I'm feeding like 5 people today. So let that get in there and cook. Now once that gets cooking, at the same time, throw in your diced mushrooms. Diced mushrooms. A lot of mushroom there, look at that. That's why I'm using a thicker square pan. Stir it around, let it cook. I don't want to bore you with having to cook onion, mushroom, shallots. Throw in butter, more butter, and the ingredients will be at the beginning: diced onion, 1 whole diced shallot, a bunch of diced mushrooms to your liking. Don't forget Beringer. You can use any white wine. I like Beringer. Give it a little dab. Start the stuff cooking. Adds a lot of flavor. When you make a lobster Thermidor, you're going to use white wine, Presidente brandy, and Gallo sweet vermouth. Gallo sweet vermouth is a must. Okay? And Presidente brandy is a must. You can use cognac. I use it sometimes, but cognac is gives it a very strong flavor. Expensive restaurants, they like it, the stronger the better. because you know the rich people like to drink. So anyways, give it that good flavor. Kind of a stupid thing to say, but it's true. I've been cooking for so many years at the Velvet Turtle Angeliques, and believe me, with wealthy people come in and they just chow down on liquor, and they wanted the richer and thicker it tastes, and the strong flavors of alcohol, the better. So the onions, shallots, and mushrooms are cooking. I've got this electric skillet at 300. I'm going to put it 325 so we can get the ball rolling. Let it cook. Just like that. Gives it a nice sound. I'll throw in the brandy once I throw in the cream. With the sweet vermouth, you kind of add the white wine and the vermouth and more butter as it moves along. Just dab. You don't need to measure any of the liquor, just dabs. Put it to the side. Add some black pepper to your liking. Not a lot, but dab of black pepper. Don't forget, as it gets cooking, you're going to add your parsley in a little while. I give it a squeeze of lemon. I try to squeeze the whole thing in half. Start the flavor in there. You guys, Lobster Thermidor is so easy to make. You can teach your kids. And teenagers, not kids I mean, but and they'll love it. Make this dish wherever you cook, and especially if you have guests over, they will go crazy. Okay, it's cooking. I got it at 375. If you're using a regular big pan, you don't need to put it. You can cook everything at medium and then low. This is cooking. And I'm going to give you all the ingredients towards the end, but as you watch, you'll know what I'm putting in. So right now we got butter, onion, mushrooms, a whole shallot. You can add more, another shallot if you want, diced, depending on how much flavor you want. And you're going to have the Mexican style 3 cheese. You're going to have the mozzarella cheese and the Parmesan cheese. Okay? And you're going to have parsley, mushrooms, the black diced mushrooms, diced parsley, everything diced. And don't forget your chicken. You need your chicken Weber seasoning. That's a must. Okay? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put in the Weber seasoning right now. Give it a good shake. Add that in there. That's your Weber's seasoning. That's all you need. I don't agree with putting salt on this dish because I just don't want to over salt it and it tastes bad. I say that in my other video too, my Thermidor video. I just don't like using salt because it can ruin a dish and it can easily become overly salty, the flavor. And it ruins the dish. And we don't really need salt when you got all this liquor, butter, lemon, and then you got your chicken seasoning. And the chicken seasoning has a little bit of salt already in it. Okay? Nothing. Don't ever use anything spicy. No spicy seasonings at all. Throw in another chunk of butter. Kind of chop up the butter. It's okay if it gets a little thick. So that way it burns a little more and it cooks faster. You don't want to burn anything, but it gets a little bit crispy. Right now we're taking all the sauce out of the onion, shallots. Okay, I got the fan on. You might hear the fan. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a little bit of the lobster stock, just a little, half a spoon. I took it out of the pan, over here, pour it in there. A little bit of the lobster stock, not a lot, it adds flavor as you move along. But don't overdo it with the stock, because you don't want a lot of water in this dish. That's going to help marinate and cook the onion a lot better. All right, it's cooking, it's moving along. Now, what we're gonna do, let it cook a little bit longer. I'm trying to speed up the video, so I got the thing at 350. Because I want this stuff to cook. The onion, shallots, mushrooms always take a while to cook. But they're starting to get brown and they're starting to shrink, the mushrooms. There we go. Kind of scoop it up in the middle a little bit. It all gets in there. Listen to that sound, isn't it pretty? When we worked in the restaurant, we had to move really fast. You know, 10,000 miles an hour. We had 8 chefs, and we would roll. And it was a lot of fun, though. And we had these big vents of air conditioning coming in the kitchen, so we always stayed cool. We didn't suffer working in a hot environment. Made it a lot more fun. Okay. I'm gonna let this cook. And a little bit more. As it dries up, add more, a little bit more stock. But prefer the wine. Keep stirring it. It's cooking more on this side, this electric skillet. I don't know why. It's not really getting too much on the left side. Okay. Now the next ingredient is going to be, I add the diced mushrooms towards the end because if you put it in too early, they'll really overcook. I got my onions, so I don't need really any onion powder. I got my parsley. I recommend getting the parsley fresh and dicing it up. Don't use too much of the stem. You can always use, you know, ready-made dry parsley in the can, but it's not as fresh as cutting it. The flavor will be off. Same with, you can use onion powder, but you want onion in this food. You can use onion powder too if you want a little bit more. And here we go, folks. It's all cooking. I turn it up, the skillet to 400, because I want to roll on this stuff. Then I'm going to lower it. Yeah, onion takes a while to cook. It cooks better in the big pan. Now, once this gets all creamy and continues to cook, the onion and the shallot will cook more. So here we go, you guys. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm going to add heavy whipping cream. Okay, and I'm going to mix it with another Kroger whipping cream. Use 2 whipping creams. Horizon, I like. Look at this. Yum. Give it a dab. And then get my Kroger heavy whipping cream. Kroger heavy whipping cream. Add some of that in there. It just adds more flavor when you mix 2 different whipping creams. Stir it around. It's still always going to be cooking no matter what. It's starting to look like Thermidor sauce. Cook it around. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some more white wine, some more brandy, some more vermouth, because we're going to need it. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the flour. Some people like cooking the flour before. I don't. I like to add the flour when it's halfway there. I don't use too much flour either. It'll be way too thick. I give it a nice dab of flour, like this. That's enough. You don't need to overdo it on the flour. It'll ruin the dish too. And then you have to be adding a lot of more wine and ingredient. Add the flour. It just gives it a good creamier texture. See, it's sucking up the liquor. It's sucking up the lobster stock. And it looks pretty. But you got to mix it really good when you add the flour so it mixes good and cooks. Look at that. Look at the richness. Now this is going to change color. When some people prefer to use just mozzarella, the original recipe is Parmesan cheese, mozzarella, and the Mexican force style cheese. I use all three. See how it's thickening? Beautiful, isn't that? Isn't that pretty? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get your Parmesan cheese. I'm going to add Parmesan cheese, a little dab, mozzarella cheese, another dab, mozzarella cheese, doesn't matter what brand, great value, whatever you want to get, it's all Kroger, Mexican Fort cheese. Mexican Fort cheese is really, really, really good. You got your shredded Monterey Jack, and this is what's going to make it a little bit more orange. See, you got it. Most Lobster Thermidors in the restaurant almost all have an orange color to them. You can also bake it in the oven for a couple minutes once you put it back in the shell. And you're going to add your diced mushrooms. Your diced olives. Give it a kick. Add some more lobster stock. And kick it in there. Everything's going to start cooking. We're almost done, actually. It's a very fattening dish. It's rich. I recommend making this on special occasions. Don't eat it all the time, like once a week. Or just special occasions, because it's a very fattening dish. And people are really health conscious nowadays. Well, a lot of people could care less. Serve it every other day. And see how it's thickening? Give it a note more squeeze of your lemon. When you make this and you're used to making it, you just add the flavors as you move along. Let that go. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it a taste, because I want to see where I stand. Taste, when you're cooking these kind of dishes, always tells you what you need to put in and continue to do. I need more sweet vermouth. I need more President de Brandy. I need more white wine. Now, it's still cooking. I love the mozzarella. I'm going to add some more mozzarella. It gives it a good flavor. I'm going to add some more of the Mexican cheese. Here. Mozzarella will give it a really big kick. Squeeze a lot of lemon in this dish. Here we go. There we go. And it's still cooking. And I'm going to lower it to 275. Because now it's cooking a lot. Everything's pretty much cooked. You don't want to, you can serve it thicker if you're putting it on a steak. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my lobsters out one by one. I'm going to throw them in here, let them cook, kind of mix up in the Thermidor, and then you kind of scoop it around. Don't move them too much, like that, because they're already cooked. You're not trying to cook the lobster. Now the way we do the dish, let it cook. I lowered it so it's kind of cooking. See the color? It's kind of an orangey. That's lobster Thermidor right there. You guys, this is perfect. Unbelievable. I wish I could serve it to the whole world right now. What makes it is, sweet vermouth is really adds a touch in the brandy. Cognac would give it a richer, stronger taste, but it's good. So, actually everybody, I made enough already. Put a little bit more wine, a little bit more lobster stock, because it's starting to thicken up. Now, we're ready. It's actually done. Now what you're gonna do, I'm only gonna do 1 or 2 shells because I want to show you what you need to do. Let it warm a little bit more before I turn it off. I'm gonna get my plate and I'm gonna run it around the kitchen, lay a napkin. I'm gonna lay the plate right here. Now, what I'm going to do, if you look more over there, I'm taking out those lobsters out of the pot. And watch what I do over here on the plate. The lobster sauce is done. I turned it off. It's done. So now we're going to focus. Isn't that pretty, everybody? Isn't that beautiful? Look at the texture. It's done. I'm going to turn it to the plate. But I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I don't want to hit the floor. Now, here's the plate. Scoot over this way more. I'm going to take out the shell. Lay it here. You got to drain all that liquid. Lay it here. Take out the shell. Lay it here. This is your presentation. Get your lobster. Take it out, lay it back in your shell. If this is the way you want to do it, lay it back in your shell. Some people like to cut it up and lay it back in the shell, but I'm going to show you just different ways to make this. Take it out. In fact, I'm going to do it that way so the people will see. You can cut it in 4 pieces. I'm going to cut this in 1, 2, 3, 4. Shove them back in the shell. Like that. You can make it prettier. This one I'm going to do whole because I'm going to eat it. I'm just showing you 2 ways you can make it. You can either put the whole lobster back in the shell or cut slices back in the shell. And what you're going to do is you're going to pour your lobster over it. Just like this. And there's your lobster Thermidor. You can put a rice wheel up on the side like this. Now I'm only doing this for a show. To show you how you can do it. The best way to make lobster, that just showed you that it's lobster Thermidor. Pretty, clean the plate. I'm not making it all presentable because this is just for me, my wife, and my mom. So there you go. There's your beautiful lobster Thermidor. You can add more sauce, but that's going to be mine. Now let me show you what I'm going to do on the other plate. This is what everybody likes. I'm going to get another plate, and I'm basically just going to take the lobster out, lay it down on the table, on the plate, in the middle, cut again. I'll make it 3 slices.
You need to have another plate for Carmen.
Like that.
For Carmen.
I do it on the plate because it's so messy.
For Carmen.
If I do another, there's. So that's on the plate, and then you just add the sauce on top. That's it. You can serve it in a littler plate, depending on how much you want to eat. So that's 2 servings right there. There's your lobster Thermidor on the plate, cut up in 8 slices. There you go. You can either put it back in the shell and serve it, each one cut up 4 times. You can lay it on the plate like this. You can make rice pilaf down the middle or on the side. If you put rice pilaf, you can always lay the lobster on top of the rice pilaf in the sauce on both sides and on the lobster. That's it, everybody. Lobster Thermidor. Make it in the shell. You can make it like this, or you can make it with, lay it all on top of rice, including all the sauce. Over and out, I'm Eddie. This is good food, isn't it? Over and out, everybody. And that's Kimberly over there. And we're in the other studio, but Over and out. Lobster Thermidor. Make it tonight. It's easy. It's beautiful. You can even save it for the morning, make it tomorrow, have it tomorrow for lunch, or whenever you want. Over and out, everybody. Hope you enjoy it. Take care, subscribe. Bye-bye.